What a wild story, right? Now, I want to hear your thoughts. Have you ever dealt with family favoritism or felt like an outsider in your own home? Let's talk about it in the comments. And while you're at it, let me know where you're watching from. I love seeing how far our stories reach. If you enjoyed this one, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss tomorrow's special story. Trust me, it's one you won't want to miss. See you in the next one. I thought I was part of the family, until I saw the video. Growing up, I always felt like I didn't quite belong in my own family. Not in the dramatic I must be adopted kind of way, but in a much quieter, more painful way, like I was always just a little bit out of place. My parents, Linda and David, believed in a very specific version of success, one that followed a clear formula: work hard, get a practical job, make good money, and never waste time on anything that doesn't lead directly to financial stability. My older brother, Ryan, fit that mold perfectly. He was the golden child, the one who did everything right. He got good grades, played sports, and landed a high-paying job right after college. He was everything my parents wanted in a son, and they made sure he knew it. Every achievement of his, no matter how small, was met with praise, celebration, and endless support. And then there was me. I wasn't reckless. I wasn't a troublemaker. I didn't make bad decisions or throw my life away, I just didn't follow their blueprint. I chose a career that wasn't traditional, one that didn't come with a straightforward path to success. It wasn't like I picked something useless. I worked hard, I had real skills, and I knew I could make a future out of it. But because my job didn't fit their rigid definition of success, it never counted. They never outright stopped me from pursuing it, but they never supported me either. Every conversation was filled with subtle, and sometimes not so subtle, jabs about how I should have chosen something more useful. It was like I had to constantly prove my worth in a way Ryan never had to. I graduated with honors. No one cared. I landed my first real job in my field. My mom sighed and said, "Well, at least you're making something." Meanwhile, Ryan would get showered with praise for the most basic things: getting a small promotion, buying a new car, even just showing up for family events. It wasn't just about careers, either. At family gatherings, my jokes would fall flat, my stories would get interrupted, and my thoughts would be dismissed as soon as Ryan or my parents had something more important to say. I can't even count how many times I sat at the dinner table in complete silence, knowing that no one cared what I had to say. And yet, despite all of this, I stayed connected, not because I particularly wanted to, but because I felt like I had to. Some small, stupid hope kept me hanging on. The hope that maybe one day, something would change. That maybe, eventually, they'd see me as an equal. But that day never came. After college, I finally had what I wanted: independence. I wasn't making a ton of money, but it was enough to support myself, enough to prove that my career wasn't a mistake. I thought maybe, just maybe, that would finally earn me some respect. But I was wrong. My parents, who had spent years dismissing my career, never suddenly started seeing value in what I did. They never once said, "We were wrong about you." They never said, "We're proud of you." Instead, something unexpected happened. They started asking for money. Not in a "we're struggling, can you help us" way. That, at least, I could have understood. No, they brought it up casually, like it was expected. My mom would mention a bill she was a little short on and pause, waiting for me to offer. My dad, who never once seemed interested in my financial situation before, would make offhand comments like, "It's good that you're finally making money. You know, things have been tight lately." And then there was Ryan. Ryan, who had followed their perfect plan, who had the high-paying job, the big apartment, the brand new car. Ryan, who made way more money than me. You'd think they'd go to him first, right? Wrong. It was always me. The one with the useless career. The one they still mocked behind my back. At first, I helped. Because that's what family does, right? That's what I told myself. I covered a bill here, sent some extra money there. Nothing huge, just small things to help them out. But the more I gave, the more they expected. The requests started coming more frequently. My mom stopped hinting and started telling me what she needed. My dad started treating me like an extension of his bank account. And when I finally tried to set some boundaries, I was met with the same guilt trips, the same tired arguments. "We did so much for you growing up. You can't even help us out a little?" Ryan doesn't have to help because he actually picked a stable career. We wouldn't have to ask if you had just chosen something useful from the start. It was never about need. It was about control. And I was starting to realize that no matter how much I gave, it would never be enough. It all came crashing down at one family dinner. I didn't want to go. I never did. These dinners were always the same, Ryan at the center of attention, my parents hanging on his every word, and me sitting there, invisible. But despite everything, I still showed up. Some part of me still wanted to believe I was part of this family. So I sat there, quietly eating my food, tuning out the usual comments about Ryan's latest success and the passive-aggressive remarks about my unconventional career. I had learned to let it slide, to nod along, to keep my head down. Then, the next morning, I got a notification on my phone. I had been tagged in a video. Confused, I clicked on it. It was a live stream. The entire family dinner had been broadcast to the internet. At first, I thought it was just some casual family content. Maybe a funny conversation. Maybe something harmless. But as I started watching, my stomach dropped. It wasn't just a recording of dinner. It was a roast session. Of me. My mom laughing as she called my degree worthless. My dad shaking his head, saying he still couldn't believe I was making a living off of it. Ryan smirking, cracking jokes about how I'd probably come crawling back for real money one day. And the worst part? Everyone was laughing. Aunts, uncles, cousins, they all joined in, chuckling, nodding, enjoying the spectacle. Not one person defended me. Not one person hesitated. I rewound the video. Twice. Maybe I had misheard. Maybe I was overreacting. But no, every cruel word was exactly what I thought it was. It wasn't just teasing. It wasn't light-hearted family banter. It was deliberate. It was cruel. And it wasn't just one moment. I skipped through the footage, hoping, praying, to find a single second where someone, anyone, stood up for me. But all I found was more of the same. More jabs. More smirking. More laughter at my expense. And then my dad, in between bites of food, casually said, "Well, at least he's useful when we need money." My mom, barely looking up from her plate, replied, "If he was smart, he would have studied something worthwhile in the first place." And Ryan? He leaned back in his chair, grinning. "Yeah, but it's fine. He'll realize eventually. He can't play pretend forever." Pretend. Like my entire career, everything I had worked for, was just some childish game. Something inside me snapped. I sat there, staring at my phone, my breath coming in short, uneven bursts. The laughter from the video still echoed in my ears, my mom's dismissive chuckle, my dad's casual put-downs, Ryan's smug confidence. They had spent years looking down on me, but I had convinced myself it wasn't that bad. That maybe, deep down, they respected me in their own way. But this was proof. They didn't just mock me behind my back, they did it on camera, in front of the entire family, and then broadcast it to the internet like it was entertainment. I gritted my teeth, anger burning in my chest as I unlocked my phone and called my mom. She answered on the second ring. "James, what's wrong?" Straight to the point. No small talk. No warmth. Because she knew I never called unless something was wrong. I didn't waste time. I saw the video. A pause. A shift in her breathing. Then, in a carefully neutral tone, she said, "What video?" I clenched my jaw. "The one Ryan posted. The live stream of family dinner." Silence. Then, a little laugh, forced, uneasy. "Oh, that. Come on, James, it wasn't a big deal." "Not a big deal?" I repeated, gripping the phone tighter. "You sat there and called my degree worthless. You laughed when Dad said the only good thing about me was my money. Ryan said I was just playing pretend. And everyone laughed." She sighed, exasperated. "You're being dramatic. Nobody was making fun of you. We joke around, you know that." That was always their excuse. Every cruel remark, every insult, every dismissive comment, just a joke. Just harmless fun. I took a deep breath. You do realize people could see that, right? Strangers. My friends. My colleagues. Another pause. Then, a much more careful response. Did someone say something?" And there it was. She didn't care that they had humiliated me. She only cared if it had consequences. I exhaled sharply. It doesn't matter if someone said something. What matters is that my own family spent an entire meal tearing me down, and you let it happen." She scoffed. "Oh please, you act like we sat around plotting ways to ruin your life. No one was thinking that hard, James. You're just being sensitive." I closed my eyes, my grip on the phone tightening. "I've been helping you for years. Covering bills. Sending money when you needed it. I've given you more than I could afford, and this is what I get in return." "Oh, stop," she snapped. "We're family. That's what family does." I let that hang in the air for a second. Then, slowly, I asked, "What have you done for me, Mom?" Silence. I pressed on. "I mean it. What have you done for me? Because I can list everything I've done for you, but I can't think of a single thing you've done for me." Her voice hardened. "I raised you." I let out a hollow laugh. "That's not a favor. That's your job." She sighed heavily. "Look, I don't have time for this. If you're going to sulk, do it on your own time. Just don't bring it up at dinner next week." I let out a slow breath. "I won't." "Good," she said, her voice lighter, like she thought she'd won. Because she didn't realize what I meant. I wasn't going to bring it up at dinner. Because there wouldn't be a next week. I was done. I hung up the phone, my hands shaking, not from fear, but from adrenaline. For years, I had put up with it. The passive-aggressive comments. The dismissive attitudes. The constant comparisons to Ryan. And yet, I still showed up. I still helped. I still held on to that tiny, stupid hope that one day they'd respect me. But now, I had proof of what they really thought of me. I was done. But they weren't. The next evening, just as the sun was setting, there was a knock at my door. Not a friendly knock. Not a casual tap. It was loud, impatient, demanding. Like whoever was on the other side wasn't just here to talk, they were here to win. I already knew who it was. I didn't even need to check the peephole. I took a deep breath, squared my shoulders, and opened the door. There they were, my parents and Ryan, standing in the hallway like they were staging an intervention. Ryan stood with his arms crossed, his face set in a smug expression, like he was just waiting for me to cave. My dad looked angry, his jaw tight, his arms crossed over his chest. My mom, well, she was playing the role of the concerned mother, her hands wringing like she was the victim here. "James," my dad said, his voice dripping with false calm. "We need to talk." I didn't even try to hide my irritation. "About what?" My mom stepped forward, trying to soften the tension. "Sweetheart, this has gone too far. You're overreacting. Let's just clear things up." I let out a short laugh. "Oh, now you want to clear things up? After that video? After years of treating me like a joke?" My dad sighed, his patience already running thin. "You're acting like we did something horrible." It was just dinner conversation. You're blowing this out of proportion. Right, I said, my voice sharp. Because laughing at me, mocking my career, and treating me like a walking ATM is just harmless fun, right? Ryan finally spoke up, rolling his eyes. Oh, come on, James. Stop acting like a victim. You're just mad because we called you out. Something inside me snapped. I stepped forward, my voice steady but cold. Called me out? Called me out for what, Ryan? For not being like you? For working my ass off to build something for myself while you sat back and followed a path someone else laid out for you? Don't act like you've ever worked harder than me. Ryan's smirk faltered. I turned back to my parents. You know what? I'm done. Done sending you money. Done showing up just to be treated like an afterthought. Done being your backup plan when things get tough. Find someone else to leech off of. My dad's face darkened. You think you can just walk away from your family over this? I met his glare without flinching. No, Dad. You walked away from me a long time ago. Silence. A heavy, suffocating silence. Then, my dad let out a bitter chuckle and shook his head. Fine. Go ahead. Cut us off. But don't come crawling back when you realize how much you need us. I let out a slow breath. That's the difference between me and you. I don't need you. I never did. Then, without another word, I shut the door in their faces. For the first time in my life, I felt free. What a story, right? But now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever felt like the outsider in your own family? Have you ever been in a situation where people who never supported you suddenly expected something from you? Let's talk about it in the comments. And here's another question. If you were in Jane's shoes, what would you have done? Would you have cut them off, or would you have given them another chance? I'm curious to see how you all would handle this situation. Also, let me know where you're watching from. It's always amazing to see people tuning in from all over the world. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss tomorrow's special story. Trust me, it's one you won't want to miss. See you in the next one.